So we've never taken on any capital in the company. It's 10 years now. How do you grow like that and preserve the capital? Well, I think it's about what level of sacrifice are you prepared to make with your own lifestyle to forego now in your life and invest that in your company instead and get the returns later. That's the question, right? So I remember when we started Finder, we left a job and we were getting paid, I don't know, like 150 grand or something. And we paid ourselves $1,500 a month. And that's probably not the right, we were probably worth a lot more than that, but we kept a lot of cash in the company to continue to invest, and you sacrifice. So you don't, it's not about living a fancy, crazy lifestyle and those kind of things. I think this comes back to what you're saying about investments. Plan those investments. What are the things are you going to invest in the long term in versus what are the things that you're going to make a quick buck out of, but then move on. And we just cut a lot of the quick bucks out and just made long-term investments in things and just kept plowing money into it. We pumped that a lot into the company, right? So we kept reinvesting. And, I think part of that question is, what is your goal? For us, the goal, we kept raising the bar essentially. And so that's the way, we started by just going, okay, we just want to make 100 grand a month.
Yep.
And I remember everyone was like, that's crazy. And I said, and then we hit that and I was like, let's go for $1 million a month. Let's make $1 million a month. And everyone was like, that's like, no one could conceive of that number. It was just, what does that even look like? No, we had no idea, no comprehension, probably very few ways of exactly knowing how to get there. But once you just set that goal, we then went, okay, right, what do we do to get to that? We spent 7 years perfecting the process and the system to make it so as the founders were not involved operationally. And I think that's when we went, then I got on the plane and I went to New York City, got an Airbnb and literally started the company again, Finder.com. And, that's grown. I think there's like 70 people now in the US. It's a serious operation now, but the only reason we could do that and plan that and understand that is because we spent 7 years perfecting it. So that nimbleness, you're right, it decreases over time. What you're also highlighting and what that comes back to and what we've been very challenged by is how do you innovate? Right? How do you actually reinvent yourself? Christian Clayton wrote that great book, The Innovator's Dilemma, and I love that book, and I've just read the follow-on book to it. That would be the book I'd say if you want with this challenge to read. It affected me a lot, and the way in which we kind of have solved that, well, we try and solve it. I don't even say we solve it because who solved innovation? It's tough, right? And this is where this app, the Finder app's been born out of, is we create a separate company. Now, Christensen said that you can do it, and there's two ways. You can either shepherd some resources or you just make a whole separate entity. And that's the whole separate entity is really what I found to be the most effective. But, other companies like Johnson & Johnson, they're able to do that. Fisher & Paykel have an innovation area, and then they kind of go off on missions and things like that. And I think it's really important, like you said, to understand and see those incumbent businesses coming for you. Sorry, those businesses, those ones that are coming for you. But at the same time, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've seen people say that comparison's dead and we're going to kill comparison. And I've seen that so many times from so many different businesses. They don't always work. So sometimes actually the defense of doing nothing can actually be the best response. We've always wanted to make something that lasts forever. We're not going to stop. We think it's still day one because, we're going to keep going and keep making it until it's a welded on part of humanity. It's got to survive and endure. So I don't want to build a unicorn company. I want to build a phoenix. Phoenixes continuously reinvent themselves and birth themselves again and become stronger.